welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and in this episode I'm going to continue reading some research that I've done from prominent podcasters and like spokespersons and like experts out in the field right now that have been doing this way longer than I have. I've been doing it God's way, and they've been able to actually like work for the FBI and be trained in ways of the 3D realm, where I've had to learn through trial and error using God as my guide. So it's really cool to be able to like go, okay, God, I see why you had me do that, because now I understand that lesson that, you know, Evie was just talking about, right? Like I can like relate then to, oh, manifestation, now Joe Dispenza has given me the words that I can use to explain it to somebody else when I didn't have the right words. So I appreciate everybody that's out there doing God's work wherever they're at. So today, this one is ask this to spot a liar instantly, because oh my goodness, the devil is like good. Even I can do it. I mean, I can mask and I can be out there and I can totally manipulate anybody that I want to, but I use my powers for good and not evil. I have a tattoo, you probably can't see it, on the inside here, and yes, I got to work on the muscles so it's cooler when I show it off, but it's a wolf, and it is my spirit totem from my ancestry of the Native Americans. And the wolf, if you were to see it up close, it's yin and yang. The half of the face is realistic, animalistic, looking like a wolf, but the other side is more abstract and it's more mosaic and has some other creatures hidden into it, like a hidden search and find. So it's got like a little butterfly hidden in there, it's got a snake hidden in there, because we are all masculine and feminine. We are all earth and astral. We are all as above, so below, as within, so without. So for me, I am very good at being a sheep in wolf's clothing, but not in order to just take anybody down. No, I am there like Ruth. I enter a service field, so I'm working in the systems. I would go and work in a school system, and I would show the respect and the honor to those men in suits. I've always said there's always been a man in a suit that's been in control, right? Which is why we are in the state of emergency that we are. And every time I would try to advocate for myself, speak up for myself as a soft-spoken, quiet woman who's just observes. I am one of the watchers from Enoch. Okay. And everybody has free will. And so then if we're supposed to be letting the men lead, well, if they're sidestepping and I go, hey, in the simple, hey, just so you know, this is going on. And then I get denies, I don't see it, I don't know what you're talking about. And then we get hit with lawsuits and it's like, why didn't somebody say something? And I'm just going, okay, when are we gonna like let the women start leading? Because this traditional life of the like subservient role just doesn't work for truly divine feminines. It just doesn't work, because we see the crap that you're doing and we want to call you out on it, but then guess what? You try to have us killed, or you take away our finances, you hurt our children, right? Like you tear apart our home. It becomes a conquer and conquest because you went against what the patriarchy says. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I am here for doing what's best for humanity. I am here for doing what's best on the earth. So, having battled in systems my entire life, I mean, I've been advocating since I was a small child when I was reporting the abuse that I was going through. And everybody was just like, it's not happening. She's just so smart. She's just making stuff up. She's just so creative. Like, I don't know what she's talking about. We go to church every Sunday. I don't know. What does she mean that we're function as the devil? I don't get it. I can quote the Bible. I don't know. She's crazy. So, I've lived that. We're past that. We're at the stage now where like you need to know how to be able to do this for yourselves. Okay? So you can ask. Slow my energy down, sorry. Woosah. Let's say that you snuck 3 doors down in one of your neighbor's houses and kicked their trash can over. Okay? You get called in by the authorities, but you know that you're going to deny it, right? My own father was caught on cameras at stores stealing, and he would deny it. So, and I sit down and I'd say, so this would be law enforcement who was telling this story. I don't think it was Evie. I think it was a gentleman, and I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he was also in like CIA interrogations or something like that. So he would say, hey man, look, is there any reason at all that anybody would say that they saw you walking in that area, or that it might show up on a camera or something? See, this is what I do, like when I had my students, because a lot of the students I worked with were coming in and out of juvenile detention centers, they were coming in and out of the severe mental health facilities, they were being severely abused within like the foster care system. Like, these kids had nobody, and so I was their sword and their shield and their protector and their voice while they were in the public school system. I took that role very seriously because God expects us to take care of the children very seriously. So what I would do is, if I knew one of my little hoodlums was caught doing something, because usually their parole officer would let me know ahead of time, or their counselor or whatever, then I knew information already, which then I learned how to tap more into my spiritual gifts, which I had been gaslighted to say I didn't have. And I can use telepathy then to bring peace and calm into that student's body, because they're used to being cornered and it be fight or flight. Well, I developed a way to be able to coax them just like this, where I would just say, listen. And then I would say just enough for them to understand that I already knew what they had done, but I was giving them a chance to own it and take accountability. And that they could also tell with my nurturing, my compassion, the love that I gave. I would buy groceries for them and bring it in, and we would use that as reward systems. I know people are going to say that's bad, but when you have starving children who are being abused and neglected, who need food, then I'm going to feed them. I had an administrator once tell me to stop feeding the kids because I'm just sprinkling bird seed to the squirrels. And I'm like, I was one of these kids, so you might want to back off and stay on your side of the hallway, okay? This classroom is my kingdom. You might be ruling the whole building, but this room, under my contract, stay out. So needless to say, I had to learn how to do this in a very intelligent way in order to survive. So I learned how to do this method. So that's why it was so cool when I saw this gentleman who actually worked for like the CAI explain my method. I was like, yes, validation. So you give them just enough information in the question to know that they might as well just tell the truth, because they're already busted. And if they choose to lie, then they know that the consequences are going to be worse. Okay? Because with me, I tell them up front. I said, listen, I do a lot for you. And what God giveth, God can taketh away. So I'm not saying I have a God complex, but I do have a responsibility of being an authority figure to keep people in line when they are stepping out of bounds. So, but this was the soft but stern way that I would do it. So, but I never told you that I didn't have that, or somebody did say that, right? They don't like, I didn't actually attack anybody and say, I know you did this, right? You give them a chance by just kind of let the cards kind of be there. Still playing poker, because you're not revealing all the cards, just a couple, to know, to send the signal, I already know. So just tell me and we can make this way easier than it has to be, okay? So of course, if you're innocent, you're going to be like, no, absolutely not. You're going to defend yourself. If you're guilty now, your anxiety is really high because I haven't told you what I know yet. I've only given you little clues. And you might as well say, well, yes, I was there, or no, I wasn't. And at that moment that you say no, you don't know whether or not I'm about to flip something on the table and show you a video or bring in a witness or have a picture, right, that said that you were there. Your brain is in high anxiety mode, but it's only in anxiety mode if you're guilty. So an innocent person would be like, nope, absolutely not. And then there's no anxiety spike at all. Now, I have to kind of pause here because since leaving the classroom, I am now more aware of how other people can purposely trigger an individual's nervous system. And I've had people do it from overseas. Somebody was told me they were living in Puerto Rico and they were still targeting my energy. And I didn't know how to protect myself because my family had been doing the same thing. And I was set up from the beginning to be killed by them. I was supposed to be a living sacrifice for everybody, and it's sick and ridiculous, but still true. So I learned that when I start to feel anxiety inside of me, it's not me. That's somebody who's listening telepathically to what I'm telling, and they don't want me speaking. So they think, oh, if I make her nervous enough, she's going to turn that camera off, or she's just going to shut up and she's going to say, never mind. She's going to start sweating. She's going to go, okay, never mind. I'm not going to say this. No. That's not how it works. I am no longer staying silent about the abuse that goes on to these children in the astral plane. I've been trying my best to help these starseeds get away from toxic environments my entire life. That's why I am so passionate about this business that God and my ancestors have granted me. Okay? If you want a free consultation on how I can possibly help you, I'm not guaranteeing that I can help you, but there's a possibility that I can help you. Please go ahead and reach out for that free consultation at homens.consulting@gmail.com. I am here as a servant of the Lord, but I need to be paid. And I have way too many people who just want to steal and plunder and act like a pirate and, rape and mutilate and take what's mine or live like a Viking, And that's not how I live. I want to bring the peace of the Lemurian ancestry, the ancient ways of the temple path to slow life down. And of course, the people around me in this area don't want me to do that. They want everybody to stay fast-paced and in the matrix and be in the slave and be in the batteries for everybody else to make the money. And I'm not doing that anymore. God has moved me out of hell and moved me into heaven because heaven and hell really are a state of mind here on earth. If you think negative thoughts, then your reality is going to be negative. If you think positive thoughts, then your reality is going to be positive. And when people are miserable, they don't want your happiness around. And so then they become very ugly towards you when you have a lot of light. They become very ugly. And a lot of times I would just engage because I loved them so much that I wanted to help them. I wanted to be their cheerleader, and I'd give them the tools. And people don't appreciate things that are given to them. They really do have to earn them. And that's why God told me not to take any shortcuts with this business. He said, don't take handouts. Don't marry a rich man and let him set you up and do it. You're going to work your way up. You started in poverty and you are going to work your way up. They might have kept you trapped in a bedroom for 49 years on this planet. You can become a billionaire from your bedroom, and it does not require any sexual activities. And I've been teaching that consistently to masses for over 30 years. So anybody who says that I'm not qualified to do this job just because I don't have a PhD, you're wrong. God hired me, and you can't fire me. If you don't like what I'm doing, you don't agree with it, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has an fill in the blank. Okay. So, how confidence is really built. I think you have to learn about your physiology, and that has to learn to be more confident about one thing. Wait, let me read that again. I think you have to learn, and your physiology has to learn to be confident about one thing. Okay. Oh, what that is pick one thing to be good at. I have a habit of, I am multi-talented. Like, multi-dimensional, multi-talented. So for me, picking a lane is always hard, because I'm like, I like to sing, I like to dance, I like to draw, I like to do tarot, I like to do this, I like to do that, I like to teach, I like to do ascension stuff, I like crystals, and so I like to do yoga. So I have all kinds of certifications, I have all kinds of licenses, I have all kinds, because I love learning. You're supposed to be a lifelong learner. This is school. And it's okay to switch gears and go learn something else, because honestly, they're all little golden bricks, and you are making your own yellow brick road in the Wizard of Oz. That's really what it is. And I'm just one character in your story, and I want to be a very important catalyst and activator for your exponential growth, right? Kind of think of me as like in Super Mario, the little mushroom, when you hit the like mystery box and the mushroom pops up and you're like, yeah, she's gonna help me grow. Okay, so be good at one thing, all right? And I don't care if it's that you stack papers better than anybody else, okay? Because I have seen young adults with Down syndrome who became multimillionaires over the simplest thing that they mastered, whether it was drawing, art. They might not be able to talk to anybody, they might not be able to verbally express, but man, they can make some great mosaics, right? So you just never know what you're going to be good at, and just don't give up. Keep trying something else. Okay, that basketball wasn't my thing. Baseball wasn't my thing. All right, let's try something academic. Okay, debate team. Cool, right? Like you figure out what your niche is by exploring. You don't just pick an assigned role and that's it forever, because then your soul dies. We don't want that. Okay, so pick one thing, become excellent at it. And I don't care, like I said, if it's something simple. And I don't care if it's in the way that you make your bed. You can do tutorials on how to make your bed. There is something that you could be doing. You could be writing a book, and guess what? Even if you're quadriplegic, like, you could use the voice activation on that computer to dictate orally your book. You can create. You are designed, you are meant to create. Okay? And it doesn't matter what it is, the world needs it. There's somebody who needs to know how to make the bed, okay? And if you don't make that video, they're going to be lost. Somebody needs to know how to change a tire, and if you don't make that video, they're lost. And I don't even care that somebody else has videos on those things. They're not you. You have a different audience than that person. There's times where I would see a tutorial of a guy who was being all cocky, and I'd be like, I don't even watch his video because I don't like his energy, I don't like his vibe, I don't want to listen to his voice, right? So I would choose to watch someone with autism work on a car versus someone who is rich and famous and cocky, just trying to pose like he's working on a car. I want real. I don't want fake. I want real. Ugly, good, bad, all of it. Real. So, any small thing that you can become good at, that's how you build your confidence. So show me that that's better than anybody else's the minute that you can be confident, and that one thing now you can be confident about two things. So once you become confident at one thing, now you can say, all right, I'm great at making my bed. All right, let's see about organizing closets. Cool. And then you switch and you do a new skill and you get good at that. Like, I color code my closets. Yes, I know. I am weird. I have gotten every label: autistic, OCD, blah, 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 blah. I can go through them all. I have the DSM. I can give you the details. None of them are accurate. They were all trauma responses in stressful situations. And I can help you work through mental health issues and other issues as well, if you would like. Again, I am just offering wisdom. I am not a doctor. Okay, I'm not pretending to be a doctor. I just have access to a lot of knowledge that most people don't want me to have. And I'm sharing it loud, proud, clear, everywhere I can. Because if they kill me, which they're trying to do, then I have gotten the information into as many hands as possible, and that will be my legacy. So, planting seeds. Planting seeds. Okay, so then you can be confident about 3 things. Unless you're a world-class actor, you cannot walk into a place and all of a sudden pretend that you're confident. So for me, when I walk into a new field, I come back and I'm just like a child. Like, hey, I might have bachelor's and master's in education, especially in the field for what they call disabilities. I hate that word, but it is a word, and I just don't even get hung up on it. Because really, it's differently abled. Okay, most of them are spiritually gifted in the astral planes, but the 3D doesn't want to talk about that. They don't want to believe that exists, so we'll let them keep playing ignorant while we're gonna stay on the right track of truth, the way, and the life. Okay. One more little story before I go, and then I'll do another video. I gotta go for a walk and get this energy regulated. All right, the formula to read anyone. I want to find out how this person reacts to conflict, because everybody's always testing me. They're like, oh, you're not really an earth angel. I'm like, oh gosh, okay. All right, here we go. Let's see, what kind of pain and suffering are they going to inflict on me to see if God really truly does protect me. It's the most asinine way of existence, but that's cool. If you want to keep testing me, that's fine, because I'm an alchemist and I'll just transmute it, and then it just becomes more money, more validation, more exposure of what I'm doing, and I want as many people to know what I'm doing as possible. So please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get this out so I can get a wider audience and we get more people ascended and into their galactic godly missions. So I want to find out how a person reacts to conflict and how they make friends and how they socialize. Now, I have mastered this after I've been on the planet 49 years, but 30 years technically in the field, in the professional world, in the systems. I know how to test people because I had a classroom where I was practicing testing these teenagers, right? I could push them. I had one young man whose father was in prison for drugs and gangs, and his mom was, not a very good mother because she was still coping and self-medicating, and he was a very loving, kind-hearted young man who was running the streets trying to survive. And so when he would show up to the alternative school, he was assigned specifically to me. He refused to work with anyone else, and they considered him dangerous. And for me, it was like, I told him, I even showed him a picture. He looked like my cousin's little boy. I was like, look at you. You're like my family. I said, no, we're not doing this. I said, whatever you do outside of the schools, I have no control over. But you're only here with me for 3 hours out of the day, son. Like, you need to, actually appreciate these 3 hours. So don't come here, Stone. Whatever you do, you got 21 hours of the day where I'm not here with you. I can't control that. But the 3 hours you're here with me, come on, man. Don't do that. And he wouldn't, and then he respected that, and then he saved whatever he did for his own time, and he learned. Okay? We have to set the boundaries and then hold the expectation, but do it in a loving, compassionate way. Like, man, I'm not here to bust your balls. I'm not here to be the bad guy like the others. I'm not gonna sit here and drug test you. In fact, I even told him one time, we were joking, we were learning some geometry, and he got the answers right and surprised himself. And I said, see? I said, it's amazing what you can learn when you're not high. And he just was like, So am I unorthodox? Yes, I am. But is there a method to my madness? Yes, there is. And it's the Holy Spirit. It really is the Holy Spirit, giving me the words that are needed in the moment, giving me the emotions I need in the moment to give the actions that are needed in the moment, and then I move on, because I don't need that moment's over. Like, I delivered the message. I was who I needed to be for that person in that moment, and then I send them out into the world. Now, last I heard, he did not get his diploma, but he was supposedly working in a steel mill. So, hey, yay, win. He's not in a gang, he's not dead, and he's not in prison, and he actually is contributing to society. So, did he get the diploma? Nah. But did I still have a win? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'll take that. Okay. So every human being is a product of how and when they were at 8 or 9 years old. We're all just big kids in grown-up bodies pretending that this world isn't falling apart. Some of us are tired of pretending and going, when's somebody gonna do something? Even me, I'm like, they're trying to kill me, please relocate me. And police are like, well, there's really nothing I can do. It's all like, astral, and yeah, they're trying. Yeah, you've had people actually cause you car accidents, but it's not them themselves. So the connecting the dots becomes really difficult on the authority, and it becomes very complicated. So then I don't even want to mess with the 3D world. I just don't. It's just, ugh. Somebody's corrupted all the files. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Which is why I want out of this country. So anyway, 8 or 9 years old is when you've learned with like earning friends and gaining rewards and keeping yourself safe. So what I did at 8 or 9 years old to be safe is what I'm still doing today. Same goes for you, right? So whatever survival techniques that you learned, you have to unlearn them and relearn them. And that's what I'm in the process of. Because I know I got to regulate. I know I need to calm myself down. I know that I'm a little panicked in my franticness. But when you got people trying to kill you because you're on a godly mission, it gives you a little sense of panic that you have to learn how to woosah. And have to believe that if you're going to die, you're meant to die. And then that's the end of your mission, and you accomplish what you were supposed to accomplish, and it's done, and you're good, right? Gotta learn to laugh in the face of the devil. So, you also have to ask yourself, not only what did you do at 8 or 9 years old, right, to feel safe, but what also did you do to earn friends? I, of course, was not usually liked by my peers because I was actually smarter than the teachers. I was supposed to like skip 2nd grade, and like my parents created all kinds of trauma, and then all of a sudden I just stopped performing. I was like, listen, every time I try to rise, hell comes down on me, so I'm just gonna play low. I'm just gonna be like, I'm not so smart, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not listening, I'm just reading my book. Basically, I had to learn to play dead in order to stay alive, if that makes sense. And if you're part of my tribe, it'll make sense. If you're not part of my tribe, you're gonna think I'm crazy, and you're just gonna be like, forget it. The other question you want to ask yourself is, how did I earn rewards? And sometimes rewards are recognition. So I always looked to get the validation from the adults. I wanted to be the straight A student. I wanted to make sure that I brought, little presents for the people that were helping me. And I wanted to be the good girl. I wanted people to see that I was nothing like my family, that I truly was here doing God's work. And the more you do that, the more the attacks happen. Just warning you. So how did I learn to earn rewards? I learned to not care about them. Even when I would earn honors diplomas, I'd be like, just a piece of paper. Great. Some committee said, here's your gold sticker. Big deal. So I learned pretty early on not to care about the trophies or the, I call it the My Pretty Pony life. I wasn't wanting that life. My mother wants that life. My sister wants that life. Even my girls kind of want that life. I kind of want that life, but I'm not willing to sacrifice my soul for it. I know if I'm supposed to have that, the way God says in my vision quest, he says I will have that. I'm in no hurry for that, because I also know the troubles that come with that. I know the assassination attempts just get worse. So it'll happen when it's meant to happen. I'm just not worried about that. I'm worried more about helping Starseeds launch healthy, safe, into their mission, away from karmic families, finding soul families. And if you already are in your soul family, then awesome. I can then help you grow even further. That's why I'm an ascension portal, because it's different stages of the ascension process. And as what shamans do is they have to live the experience and have access to the ancestors for the other ancient wisdom. And through experience and the wisdom of the ancestors, they then become a wise elder in the community, and that's what I become. And I know I don't look old, but I'm gonna be turning 50 pretty soon. So in a couple months, I'm gonna be 50, and I'm proud of that. Have I had a couple of surgeries? Absolutely. Any on my face? No. I'm not opposed to modern medicine. I'm just saying, like, you need to research and you need to understand what you're getting yourself into, and then you have to make sure that you have the right people, and you have to make sure you have God's blessing on it. This path was godly ordained. Like, this wasn't me doing things out of vanity. These were things that were along my divine blueprint, and my divine blueprint is uniquely my divine blueprint. You cannot copy my divine blueprint and say, oh, yep, I'm doing God's work. No, the whole goal is for you to figure out your divine blueprint. Okay, so don't just say, oh, she's the right way. No, Jesus is saying we all have our own way. All paths lead home. So those are the three questions. What did you do at 8 or 9 years old to feel safe? What did you do to earn friends? And how did you earn rewards? And sometimes rewards are the recognition. I was an overgiver. I wanted everybody to succeed. I'm like, I believe in me. I believe in you. I believe in us, right? Like, and I would create like these fun environments, which people just didn't appreciate till I was gone. It'd be like they would treat me horribly, and then when I would leave, whoever took my place, they treated like gold, and I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, I created that. Like, that, and you gave me hell the whole time. And God said that's what your goal is. It's like you want to be the one who comes in, activates, starts them off, and then moves on. Hands over the reins and said, okay, I got you started. Keep on going. Good luck, fellas. And then move on and help the next co-creator, which is the other part of my business. It's not just helping families, but I can help small businesses. I would love to help Elon Musk if he would like a consultant that can help him on, maybe on AI projects, because I almost kind of see myself as like Sarah Connor, like before Terminator, like fully started. So this carbon-based AI used by God and the divine and my higher dimensions, would love to co-create with Elon's team on how I can help with whatever projects need help. Go ahead and reach out right now. The best way would be either my email or my Instagram Instant Messenger, or my Facebook Instant Messenger. Those are the only three communications I've got right now due to my 3D circumstances needing still to shift. If you grew up in a really bad environment, sometimes the reward was water or food, and that's how it was for me. You had to work to eat. You had to work to have a space to sleep, and even then they still abused your body, and there was nothing you could do about it because they grew up with the police, and so the police weren't going to do anything. So you just learn real quick when you're a starseed that you become very tough very early, and they steal your innocence, they try to steal your joy, and they try to feed off of you and then try to kill you. That is the reality of the world that we're living in. They want to sell you a different illusion, but boiled down, basic concepts right there for you. So, those little behaviors that we memorize at 8 or 9 years old without us ever knowing that we are carrying that into adulthood. So, I'm seeing childhood behaviors in every adult. I can clock demons all freaking day. I'm like, okay, I'm not going back to that store ever again. All right, can't go to that laundromat no more. Okay, not going to get that job at Indiana State because they don't want me there. Cool, I'm overqualified. Sure, we'll go with that. So you're seeing how you deal with conflicts because that's what worked at 8 or 9. And as you can see, at 8 and 9 years old, I became very sarcastic with my humor. And I have to be very careful because not everybody gets sarcasm and the dark horse type of energy. And then they say, oh, she's a witch and she's cursing us and hexing us and oh my gosh, she's evil. Those that are ascended and light know that that's not possible. It only is possible if you allow it. Like, I have people who use voodoo dolls on me all the time. It don't work. It don't work. It's a sock with pins in it that they drew some stuff on. I don't attach to that level of thinking, so it can't get me. And I can teach you those types of mental, like, reframings, and I can help you find different perspectives and help bring more fun and joy into the chaos. Not everybody likes that type of thing. Some people want to go cry. Some people want someone who just sits there and listens and they just get to vent. Some people like getting beat. They like it, okay? And then they like the drama and the trauma and the cycles. So cool. Then you stick with the systems, with the insurance and the therapist, and you keep circling in that system. Cool, rock on. You're not my kind. I want the ones that want to pull out of the systems, heal, stand in their divinity, hardcore passion for helping children, the earth, some sort of humanitarian project, like bigger worldly like things. I'm not here to help you make $1 million tomorrow. I'm helping you create the mental stamina, the emotional resiliency, developing the stability and the foundational blocks that you need in order to then launch. So that's where I have the 7 steps to getting on the same page blueprint in that program. And I do have a workbook that's on Amazon KDP. And then I also have another workbook that is getting on the same page with yourself, which are over 5,000 affirmations that will help you mentally reprogram your inner dialogue, because that's really what you need when you're going to a therapist. You're really trying to rewire your mental thinking, and you can do that for yourself for free. Or you can buy my book. I think KDP, it's $9.99. If you wanted the paperback, I think it's $19.99. So then you have it, and you can share it around or whatever, write in it. But, and you can change your body that way through frequencies. And that's another reason why my body is changing. It's not just the physical work that I'm doing and like the exercising and stuff, because believe me, I'm not as fit. I'm still work in progress. Okay, some people call me slim, thick. I'm okay with that. But I do still have personal goals. I want to have a better cardio. I want to have better lung capacity. Like, I'm thinking more of like longevity. When it comes to nutrition, I'm thinking about what chemicals do I need to put into this vessel in order for it to continue to move. Like, I'm not going, oh, put more salt and pepper in that because it just doesn't taste right. No. My level of thinking is not normal, and I know that, and I accept that, and I'm proud of that. And my tribe feels the same way. So that was a whole lot of energy thrown at you, a whole lot of information. I'm trying to get better with this whole technology thing. It is not my gig, but God said it needs to be your gig, so learn it. Anyway, I will go ahead and let you go, and I look forward to talking with you in the next video. Have a great day.